Coming up, this is the most dangerous food in the world. You probably never heard about it. In fact, if you're watching this from the United States or any other Western country, then chances are you've probably never even saw or heard of it. But if you've ever traveled to Asia or Africa, then chances are you may have seen this mysterious food being sold on the streets or at markets. You might be wondering, what the heck is this weird-looking thing? The answer will absolutely shock you, because not only is it one of the most dangerous foods in the world, but it actually took an innocent life. That's right, this deadly food actually killed a person who ate it. So make sure to stick around until the end of the video, so you can find out exactly how this strange food managed to take an innocent life. Before we reveal the most dangerous food in the world, keep in mind that this is based off actual facts and research. We wouldn't make such a video if it wasn't 100% true. Now, let's begin. Starting off our list today, we have a special bonus item that has been known to kill many people over the years, and that is pufferfish. You may be asking yourself, why is the fish so dangerous? Well, it all comes down to a special poison that is found inside of this particular type of fish. And if you happen to eat even a tiny bit of it, then there is no known antidote, and you will most likely pass away. Now, despite the danger that comes along with eating this particular fish, many people in Japan actually enjoy it as a delicacy. They prepare it in a very special way so that it doesn't kill them. But if it's not prepared correctly, then this fish will definitely take your life. There was even a case in 2017 where a man passed away after eating pufferfish in Japan. It just goes to show you that even if you're in the hands of professionals, this fish can still take your life. In total, it is estimated that every year around 50 people lose their lives due to eating poisonous pufferfish. Moving on at number 9, we have acorns. That's right. Acorns are extremely dangerous and can even take your life if you're not careful. If you don't know what acorns are, they are basically the fruit of an oak tree. And while they can be turned into something that's safe to eat, if they aren't prepared properly, they can be extremely toxic. This is because inside acorns, there is a chemical called tannic acid, and if consumed in large amounts, it can lead to your death. Back in the early days when there wasn't really any modern medicine, it was believed that acorns could actually be used as a treatment for certain types of cancer. However, since they were not being prepared properly, many people lost their lives instead of being cured. Moving on to No. 8, we have cassava. Cassava is a very popular food in many countries around the world, especially in Africa and Asia. It's often boiled, it's grilled or fried and served with various dishes. While cassava is a delicious food that many people enjoy, it can also be extremely dangerous. This is because inside of the roots of the cassava plant, there is a poison called cyanogenic glycosides. These toxins can cause some serious damage to your body, and if enough is consumed, then it can lead to your death. Now moving on to No. 7, we have yellow snow. Yes, you heard that correctly. Snow can actually be extremely dangerous if it's contaminated. Now, before we continue, please do not go outside and start eating snow. That would be very dangerous. However, there have been cases in the past where snow has become contaminated and has taken people's lives. This usually happens when snow is contaminated by chemicals, sewage, or even radioactive material. For example, back in 1978 in the Soviet Union, many people became sick after eating contaminated snow. It happened because nuclear fuel had leaked from a nearby factory and had made its way into the snow. And since the snow tasted sweet, many people started eating it and were immediately poisoned. Coming up at No. 6, we have the deadly fruit called vomit fruit. Even the name of this fruit sounds scary. And if you look at it, it looks like something that could definitely take your life. However, that's not the only reason why this fruit is so dangerous. If you actually eat vomit fruit, then you will experience some very unpleasant symptoms, including hallucinations, vomiting, and diarrhea. And if you eat enough of this fruit, it will eventually lead to your death. Coming up at No. 5, we have a very common food that can actually take your life. That is eggs. You may be asking yourself, how can something that is so popular and common also be so dangerous? Well, eggs can actually be extremely harmful if they're not prepared properly. And if you eat eggs that are contaminated, then it could lead to a food poisoning epidemic called salmonella. Salmonella can cause many different symptoms, including fever, stomach aches, and even bloody diarrhea. And if left untreated, it can lead to death. In fact, each year in the United States alone, there are around 79,000 cases of salmonella poisoning caused by eggs. Out of these cases, there are around 15 deaths. Moving on to No. 4, we have uncooked rice. Uncooked rice is extremely dangerous because it can contain something called Bacillus cereus. This microorganism can grow on rice and produce a toxin that causes severe food poisoning. Symptoms of this food poisoning include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, and if left untreated, it could lead to your death. In fact, there was a case in China back in 2004 where over 100 people lost their lives due to Bacillus cereus contamination on rice. Now moving on to No. 3, we have a very popular drink that is enjoyed by millions of people around the world, and that is green tea. Many people drink green tea because it can help boost your metabolism, burn fat, and even reduce the risk of certain cancers. But what many people don't realize is that if green tea is not prepared correctly, then it can be extremely dangerous. The most common way that green tea becomes dangerous is when it is scalded or brewed for too long. When this happens, a very harmful compound called homoharington begins to develop. This chemical can cause some serious side effects, including nausea, vomiting, and even hair loss. And if consumed in large amounts, then it can lead to your death. Moving on to No. 2, we have something that many of us consume every single day without realizing how dangerous it is, and that is salt. Salt is extremely dangerous if you consume too much of it. In fact, scientists believe that too much salt is responsible for around 1.3 million deaths each year. Too much salt can cause an increase in blood pressure, which can lead to heart attacks and strokes. Not only that, but consuming too much salt can also cause the body to become dehydrated. And now, the moment that you've been waiting for, is reveal No. 1. And the most dangerous food in the world that actually took an innocent life is a mushroom. Maybe asking yourself, how could something so small take someone's life? Well, it all depends on the type of mushroom that you eat. There are certain mushrooms that can cause severe damage to your liver and kidneys, which can eventually lead to your death. In fact, each year in the United States alone, there are around 600 deaths caused by poisonous mushrooms. But now it's time to hear from you. What did you think about this list? Which of these foods were you surprised to see on the list? And what is the most dangerous food that you've ever tried? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. You need to stop eating these two foods immediately. If you have eaten these for a long time, there is no turning back. You are too far gone. You will have to live with the consequences for the rest of your life. We've all been told that saturated fat and cholesterol are bad for us, and that we should avoid them at all costs. But the truth is that this is not entirely accurate. And in fact, eating these two nutrients can actually be very good for your health. There are many studies that show that eating these two nutrients can improve your health. On the other hand, there are also two foods that we are told are healthy and that we should eat as much of as possible. But again, the truth is that this is not entirely true. And in fact, eating these two nutrients can be very bad for your health. There are also studies that show that eating these two foods can increase your risk of getting sick. Which foods should you stop eating immediately? The first food on the list is processed meat. There is a new study published by the American Heart Association in 2023 that shows that eating processed meat can increase your risk of heart disease by 72%. This study looked at over 400,000 people over the course of several years and found that those who ate processed meats were 72% more likely to develop a type of heart disease called atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is when the arteries become narrowed and stiff due to plaque buildup, which can lead to heart attack or stroke. The study found that even just one serving of processed meat per day was enough to significantly increase the risk of developing this condition. So what exactly are processed meats? Well, they are any type of meat that has been cured, salted, smoked, or otherwise processed to preserve it or enhance its flavor. This includes things like bacon, sausage, ham, salami, canned meat, deli meat, hot dogs, and so on. All of these foods are high in sodium and preservatives, which can cause water retention and high blood pressure. They are also typically high in saturated fat and cholesterol, which can contribute to plaque buildup in the arteries. So if you want to protect your heart and reduce your risk of atherosclerosis, then you should definitely cut back on processed meats. The second food on our list is vegetable oils. These are oils that are extracted from plants and seeds, such as corn oil, soy oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, and so on. These oils have become very popular in recent years because they are often used in processed foods and fried foods. They are also touted as being heart-healthy and beneficial for your overall health. However, the truth is quite the opposite. Vegetable oils are extremely inflammatory and have been shown to cause a number of health problems, including heart disease. One of the main reasons why vegetable oils are so unhealthy is because they are high in omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acids are essential for the human body, but we only need small amounts of them. Too much omega-6 in the body becomes inflamed. When the body is in a state of inflammation, it becomes much more likely to develop chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Another problem with vegetable oils is that they are usually highly processed. This means that they have been refined, bleached, and deodorized, which removes many of the nutrients and antioxidants. When oil is processed in this way, it becomes more easily oxidized, which can lead to inflammation and free radical damage in the body. Studies have shown that consuming vegetable oils can lead to an increase in LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol. This can lead to plaque buildup in the arteries and increase the risk of heart disease. Not only that, but vegetable oils have also been linked to an increased risk of cancer, diabetes, and obesity. This is because these oils are often high in calories and easy to overeat, leading to weight gain and metabolic problems. Additionally, the inflammatory effects of vegetable oils can promote the growth and spread of cancer cells and impair the body's ability to regulate blood sugar, which can lead to diabetes. So if you are concerned about your heart health, it is best to avoid vegetable oils as much as possible. Instead, you should opt for healthy sources of fat like avocados, nuts, and seeds. Now that you know which two foods to avoid, let's talk about why they are so dangerous. Food No. 1 on the list, processed meat. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn is a renowned cardiologist who has dedicated his career to studying the causes of heart disease. In his decades of research, he has concluded that eating processed meat is one of the most significant risk factors for developing coronary artery disease. According to Dr. Esselstyn, eating processed meat can lead to the formation of arterial plaque, which is the primary cause of heart attacks and strokes. Plaque is a buildup of cholesterol, fat, calcium, and other substances that forms in the arteries. When plaque builds up in the coronary artery, it restricts blood flow to the heart muscle, leading to chest pain or angina. As plaque continues to build up, it can eventually block the flow of blood to the heart, resulting in a heart attack. Dr. Esselstyn explains that processed meat contains high levels of saturated fat and cholesterol, which contribute to plaque formation. It also contains excessive amounts of salt and preservatives that can raise blood pressure and promote inflammation in the arteries. Inflammation is a natural response of the body to injury or infection, but chronic inflammation can be detrimental to health. In the arteries, inflammation can lead to the formation of plaque and make it more likely that plaque will rupture, causing a blood clot to form. Blood clots can block the flow of blood to the heart muscle, leading to a heart attack. Illustrate the dangers of processed meat, Dr. Esselstyn cites a case study of a 67-year-old man who presented to the hospital with symptoms of a myocardial infarction. The patient had a history of eating processed meat regularly, and his diet was high in saturated fat and cholesterol. An autopsy revealed that the man had extensive plaque buildup in his coronary arteries, which had led to a complete blockage of blood flow to the heart. This case study, along with numerous other studies, demonstrates the link between processed meat consumption and an increased risk of heart disease.
Wow.
Now let's talk about the second food on our list, vegetable oils. Dr. Barry Sears is a leading expert in the field of inflammation biology and the founder of the Inflammation Research Foundation. He has extensively studied the effects of diet on inflammation and has concluded that consuming vegetable oils can lead to chronic inflammation in the body, which can contribute to a variety of chronic diseases, including heart disease. Dr. Sears explains that vegetable oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which are essential for the body, but can become pro-inflammatory when consumed in large amounts. When omega-6 fatty acids are metabolized, they produce molecules called pro-inflammatory mediators, which promote inflammation in the body. Overconsumption of vegetable oils leads to an excess of these pro-inflammatory mediators, resulting in chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation can damage the lining of the arteries, leading to the formation of plaque and increasing the risk of heart disease. Additionally, vegetable oils are often processed and refined, which can create harmful compounds called trans fatty acids. Trans fatty acids promote inflammation and have been linked to an increased risk of heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. Dr. Sears recommends avoiding vegetable oils and replacing them with healthier sources of fat, such as olive oil, avocado oil, and coconut oil. By making this change in your diet, you can reduce inflammation in the body and lower your risk of developing chronic diseases. I want to share with you the most damaging things that you can do for your heart in one day, and it's not what you think. But first, let me explain to you the 3-stage impact timeline of when you eat this way. Within 30 minutes of eating these 3 meals, your blood pressure will spike. Then at 2 hours, you have arterial inflammation. By 5 hours, you have a lipid imbalance. Okay, this is what happens. This is why if you eat a lot of refined carbohydrates, especially with protein, you get a spike in blood sugars, which then triggers insulin. So when you eat like this, the reason why your blood pressure goes up is because your arteries are filled with water. Your body holds on to sodium, doesn't know what to do with all this carbohydrate, so it stores it as fat. It takes place in 30 minutes. In 2 hours, there's a massive inflammatory response because you overate. You ate too fast, you ate too much refined food, okay? Refined carbohydrates. And so, there's an inflammatory response where the body starts to create plaque. Plaque is a foreign body reaction to the damage inside of the artery from the food. That's how plaque begins in 2 hours. By 5 hours, you have a lipid imbalance. There are certain lipids that go up, certain lipids that go down, which leads to more inflammation, which leads to more damage, which leads to more plaque. So this is the timeline of what happens when you overeat refined carbs. And so if you were eating a meal plan that was high in refined carbs, you would go through this cycle many times a day, which really damages the interior wall of your artery. The endothelial layer is the name of that tissue inside of your artery. And when that gets damaged, you start getting microscopic leaks in the artery. And when you get these microscopic leaks, you get a little bit of bleeding, and then your body rushes in to repair the damage with scar tissue. And this is how plaque begins. And when you repair that damage, you actually make the artery narrower. So now you have less oxygen going to the heart. And that causes chest pain. You're going to feel tired. You're going to be weak. You're going to have brain fog. In other words, your body doesn't have the energy to keep you active because it's busy repairing the damage from the previous night before. Now, when you don't sleep very well, what happens is you don't give your body enough time to recover. When you don't recover, your cortisol goes up. When your cortisol goes up, you have more damage in the inside of your artery. And so now, your blood pressure goes up even more. And now you have more inflammation. So you get this vicious cycle going on because you didn't allow the body enough time to heal. When you have arterial inflammation, the next thing that happens is you start to develop clots. Okay, and what are clots? Clots are just fibrin. Fibrin is a protein that is normally used to stop bleeding. When you cut yourself, it makes a little plug to stop the bleeding. Well, guess what? You're creating a lot of plugs inside your arteries which block off circulation, and that clot is made out of fibrin. But when you have a lot of fibrin, you also have this sticky situation inside of the artery where platelets stick to the walls of the arteries. And now you have more inflammation, more plaque, more clots, and the clots can break off and they can travel to the brain and cause a stroke, or they can go to the leg and cause a pulmonary embolism, or they can go to the kidney and shut off circulation to the kidney, causing kidney failure, or they could go to the heart and cause a heart attack. These clots are usually silent. You don't know you have them until they pop up somewhere and then you end up having a problem. The third thing that happens is you start getting calcification. Okay, calcification means calcium builds up. When you have arterial calcification, you have a lot of stiffness in your arteries. The arteries become rigid. They can't expand. You can't go into the chambers of the heart without kinking it. So instead of being nice and flexible, you get this calcification or hardening of the arteries called atherosclerosis. And this goes on for about 40 years. So this is why people say you should start cutting out refined carbs. Stop eating seed oils. Start consuming healthy fats. Start consuming fiber to reduce your blood sugars. Start doing intermittent fasting. All of those things are good recommendations because they reduce the amount of damage you're going to do to your arteries. When you eat a lot of refined carbs, you produce a lot of advanced glycation end products. What's that? Advanced glycation? End products? Okay, you have a protein that attaches to a sugar molecule. The protein loses its function, and you get a cross-link of collagen that becomes stuck and stiff and cannot be repaired. So that stiffness starts to build up in your arteries, and it becomes rigid. This is why plaque is hard. Plaque is full of this advanced glycation end product. And then you also have something else called a GEs. GEs are a form of a toxin that creates inflammation. You start producing a lot of free radicals. Free radicals create oxidative damage. You start developing more vascular dementia. You have the formation of amyloid beta, which is related to Alzheimer's disease. And you have the formation of something called tau protein, which is another part of the Alzheimer's equation. So you can start developing cognitive problems. You can develop memory loss. You can develop a lot of different problems when you consume a lot of refined carbs. The next one is diabetes. If you're eating a lot of refined carbs, you're going to have pre-diabetes, then you're going to have diabetes. Diabetes is just a mild form of a diabetic coma. A diabetic coma is when you have hyperglycemia, hyperinsulinemia, and you're in a coma. You're completely knocked out because you ate too many carbs. Then we have something called metabolic syndrome, which includes hypertension, which is high blood pressure. It includes insulin resistance, which means that your cells don't know what to do with glucose. And so, it's just floating around in your bloodstream. You also have visceral fat. Visceral fat is fat inside the liver and the viscera inside the organs. And then you have high triglycerides. So you have this cluster of conditions that all occur together when you overeat refined carbs. And the last one is obesity. If you consume too many calories, especially refined carbohydrates, you will become obese. And the problem with that is as the body fat percentage goes up, the mortality rate goes up. The risk for cardiovascular events goes up. It increases your risk of cancer. It increases your risk of all sorts of degenerative diseases. And it really is a worldwide pandemic that has been created by overeating, especially refined carbs. So the question is, how much damage did you do today? Let's see if you can relate to this. Did you start off the day with some toast with sugar on it? Or some cereal with milk? Or some pancakes or waffles or sodas throughout the day? Were you drinking juice? Did you eat a bunch of bread throughout the day? Did you eat fruit throughout the day? How much damage did you do today? Just take a look at your day and see how many times you overdid it with the refined carbs and realize this. Every time you did that, you put your health in jeopardy. What you want to do is to learn how to eat properly, when to eat, what to eat, and stop eating when you're not hungry. These are the basic principles to prevent any of these bad outcomes. Now, if you want to learn more about the exact foods to eat, you should check out this video right here. Today, we are going to be tackling one of the most common issues that people have with their diet, which is eating too much. Now, this can lead to weight gain, feeling sluggish, high cholesterol levels, type 2 diabetes, and a bunch of other not-so-good stuff. But I know what you're thinking. Who wants to eat less? Eating more is way better, right? Well, kind of. See, it's all about being smart with your choices of what you put into your body. And by the end of this video, I'll show you 3 healthier alternatives to replace the things you're currently eating that are making you feel like crap. So let's jump in. Alright, so let's talk about what you should stop eating first. This includes any food that is highly processed and made up of mostly refined sugars, refined carbohydrates, and unhealthy fats. This is basically what we refer to as junk food, which may include chips, cookies, candy, ice cream, fast food, soda, and a whole bunch of other tasty yet not so healthy options. When you eat these types of foods, they quickly get broken down into simple sugars, which causes your blood sugar levels to spike and then crash shortly after, leaving you feeling hungry and tired. This leads to cravings for more sugary and fatty foods, causing you to overeat and gain weight. So if you want to feel healthier and have more energy, you need to start cutting out these bad foods from your diet. Now, before we move on to the solutions, let's talk about something important. Cutting certain foods out of your diet doesn't mean that you should never eat them again. It just means that you need to reduce how often you eat them and replace them with healthier options. For example, instead of having a bag of chips every day, you could have a bag of chips once a week. I know that sounds like a lot to ask, but hey, baby steps. If you've never had a bag of chips in your entire life, it might be a little bit harder. But the point is, do you want to beat yourself up if you slip up and have some junk food every once in a while? No. Just try to make healthier choices most of the time, and you will eventually build those healthy habits and make them second nature. So let's dive into our 3 healthier alternatives that will keep you feeling full and satisfied without all the junk. The first category of food that you should try to eat less of is foods high in unhealthy fats. This includes fried foods, butter, cream, cheese, and anything else that's high in saturated or trans fats. These types of fats are typically found in processed meats like bacon and sausage, as well as baked goods made with shortening or lard. They can also be found in some nuts and seeds, but they're usually in smaller amounts. Unhealthy fats tend to be solid at room temperature, like butter sticks and coconut oil. And they're often used in cooking because they have a high smoke point, meaning they won't burn or smoke at high temperatures. However, consuming too many unhealthy fats can cause a number of health problems, including heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. So it's important to limit your intake of these fats as much as possible. Luckily for us, there are plenty of healthy fats out there that we should be consuming on a daily basis, and I'll tell you about my top picks later on in this video. Okay, so now let's move on to the next category of foods that you should try to eat less of, which is foods high in refined carbohydrates. This includes white rice, bread, pasta, and cereal. These types of carbohydrates are made from processed grains that have been stripped of their fiber and nutrients, which causes them to raise your blood sugar levels very quickly. When you eat these types of carbs, your body breaks them down into sugar, which causes insulin to be released in order to help regulate your blood sugar levels. But when you eat too many refined carbs, your body produces too much insulin, which can lead to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Additionally, eating too many carbs can make you feel bloated and uncomfortable, especially if they're in the form of starch like potatoes and corn. Refined carbs are also typically low in nutrients, meaning you'll be taking in a lot of calories without getting much in return. Of course, there are still plenty of healthy carbs out there that we should be eating every day, and I'll tell you about my favorites later. And the third category of foods that you should try to eat less of is foods high in sodium. This includes processed meats like bacon and sausage, as well as canned soups and vegetables, frozen meals, fast food, and anything else that's been packaged or prepared by someone else. The reason why you want to avoid these foods is because they're usually loaded with sodium, which is a major contributor to high blood pressure and heart disease. Consuming too much sodium can cause your body to retain water, leading to bloating and puffiness. It can also cause your blood volume to increase, which puts extra strain on your heart and arteries. And if that wasn't bad enough, eating too much sodium can also lead to kidney problems and stomach cancer. Okay, now that we've covered the foods you should be avoiding, let's move on to the solutions. We're going to cover 3 healthier alternatives to the bad foods that we previously discussed. The first alternative is good fats. This is a group of healthy fats that have been shown to have a number of health benefits. They can help improve brain function, reduce inflammation, protect against heart disease, and even help you live longer. Good fats are usually liquid at room temperature, such as olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, and nuts. 1 tablespoon of olive oil, for example, contains around 14 grams of monosaturated fat, which has been shown to reduce inflammation and protect against heart disease. Similarly, 1 medium avocado contains around 15 grams of monosaturated fat, which can help improve brain function and reduce the risk of cognitive decline. Nuts and seeds are also a great source of good fats, such as almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds. 1 ounce of almonds, for example, contains around 14 grams of monounsaturated fat and a variety of other nutrients. The next alternative is lean protein. Protein is an essential nutrient that plays a number of important roles in the body, such as building and repairing tissues, producing enzymes and hormones, and helping with weight loss. When you eat protein, your body breaks it down into amino acids, which are then used to build and repair tissues, produce enzymes and hormones, and perform other essential functions. Lean protein sources are lower in saturated fat than other protein sources, such as red meat and butter. Examples of lean protein sources include chicken breast, fish, tofu, beans, and lentils. Chicken breast is a very popular and versatile lean protein source that is low in calories and high in protein. A 3-ounce serving of grilled chicken breast contains around 165 calories and 31 grams of protein. Fish is another great option that's high in protein and low in calories. It also contains healthy omega-3 fatty acids that can help reduce inflammation and improve brain function. A 3-ounce serving of baked salmon contains around 175 calories and 25 grams of protein. Tofu is a versatile plant-based protein source that's high in protein and fiber and low in calories. A half cup of tofu contains around 95 calories and 19 grams of protein. Beans and lentils are also great options that are high in protein and fiber and low in calories. A half cup of cooked lentils contains around 115 calories and 18 grams of protein. And the last alternative is smart carbs. Carbs are an important source of energy for the body, but not all carbs are created equal. Some carbs are quickly broken down into sugar, which can cause blood sugar spikes, while others are digested more slowly and provide a more gradual release of energy. When choosing carbs, it's important to opt for complex carbs that are high in fiber and low in added sugars. Complex carbs are made up of long chains of sugar molecules that take longer to digest than simple carbs, which are made up of shorter chains of sugar molecules. This means that they cause a slower and more gradual increase in blood sugar levels, keeping you feeling full and satisfied for longer. In addition to being high in fiber, complex carbs also tend to be more nutrient-dense, meaning they provide more vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients per calorie. So now you know 3 healthier alternatives to replace the bad foods that you should be avoiding. Remember that no single food or meal is going to make or break your diet. It's all about making small changes consistently over time. And that's why I am so excited to share this video with you, because it's a great starting point to help you make those changes. But now I want to hear from you. What are some of the unhealthy foods that you're trying to cut out of your diet? And what are some of the healthy alternatives that you're eating instead? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Fake It Till You Make It. Today we're diving into 5 practical ways to implement what we've learned about healthy eating. And the best part is, these tips are backed by solid research. So let's roll up our sleeves and get practical. But before we dive in, I want to thank you all for the incredible support you've shown us. It truly means a lot to be able to bring you this valuable content without any cost. Now let's jump into it. Tip No. 1. Label reading. Knowing how to read food labels can be a game changer. When it comes to making healthier choices, for instance, did you know that some foods can hide trans fats? Even if they say 0 grams of trans fat on the label, here's how to spot them. Look out for partially hydrogenated oil in the ingredient list. Even if a product says 0 grams of trans fat, it may still contain up to 0.5 grams per serving. And here's why that matters. Trans fats raise your bad cholesterol, increase inflammation, and have been linked to heart disease and diabetes. The FDA has been trying to remove trans fats from the food supply since 2015, but some tricky brands have found loopholes, making it more important than ever for you to know how to spot them. And remember, just because a food doesn't list partially hydrogenated oil doesn't mean it's trans fat free. Some manufacturers use other partially hydrogenated oils that also need to be avoided, so keep your eyes peeled for these sneaky ingredients. Tip No. 2. Grocery shopping tips for seniors. Grocery shopping can be a daunting task for many seniors, but it doesn't have to be. By following a few simple tips, you can make the process easier and safer while still getting the most nutritious food possible. First and foremost, don't go shopping on an empty stomach. This will prevent you from impulsively buying unhealthy processed foods just because they look appealing due to hunger. Instead, bring a list of healthy alternatives that you already enjoy and stick to it. You can also plan your meals for the week and only buy the necessary ingredients. To make transportation easier, consider using a shopping cart with a seat so you can take breaks while you shop. If you're unable to drive or don't have access to a car, look into local grocery delivery services. Many offer discounts for seniors or those with disabilities. You can also ask a neighbor or a friend for help. Another essential tip is to avoid going shopping during peak hours to prevent getting overwhelmed by crowds. Try going early in the morning or later in the evening when the store is less busy. You can also check your local store's website for their senior hours, which are often reserved for the elderly and disabled, and typically come with fewer crowds. Finally, do we unhesitate to ask for assistance from store employees? If you need help locating items or reaching something on a high shelf, they're usually happy to help. By following these tips, you can make grocery shopping a more enjoyable and stress-free experience, allowing you to focus on selecting the healthiest food options for you. Tip No. 3 15-minute heart-healthy recipe. Time is precious, especially when it comes to preparing meals. That's why having some quick and easy heart-healthy recipes up your sleeve can be a lifesaver. One great option is whole wheat toast with avocado. This recipe takes only 5 minutes to prepare and is packed with fiber, healthy fats, and essential nutrients. Simply toast a slice of whole wheat bread and top it with mashed avocado, cherry tomatoes, and a pinch of salt and pepper. It's a delicious and nutritious meal that can keep you full and satisfied without the hassle of cooking. Another fantastic choice is a Greek yogurt parfait. This recipe is not only quick and easy to make, but also high in protein, calcium, and probiotics, which are beneficial for gut health. Layer Greek yogurt, berries, and granola in a glass or bowl, and drizzle honey on top. This parfait is a perfect breakfast or snack that will keep you energized throughout the day. But what about dinner? A shrimp stir-fry with brown rice is a quick and flavorful meal that's loaded with lean protein, fiber, and vitamins. Cook brown rice according to package instructions, and while it's cooking, stir-fry shrimp with broccoli, carrots, and your favorite Asian-inspired sauce. Serve the shrimp mixture over the hot brown rice and enjoy a healthy and satisfying dinner in no time. These are just a few examples of the many quick and easy heart-healthy recipes that you can incorporate into your daily routine. With a little planning and creativity, you can enjoy delicious and nutritious meals without spending hours in the kitchen. Tip number 4, meal planning. Meal planning can seem like a daunting task, but it's an essential habit for anyone looking to prioritize their health and well-being. Start by setting aside specific times to plan your meals and make a list of your favorite heart-healthy recipes. Consider factors such as your schedule, budget, and dietary restrictions when choosing recipes. Aim to include a variety of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins in your meals. To save time, prep ingredients ahead of time by chopping vegetables, cooking grains, or portioning out snacks. This will make it much easier to assemble meals during the week. You can also simplify your meal planning by utilizing resources such as online recipe platforms or cookbooks. Look for recipes with similar ingredients to reduce the number of items you need to purchase. Don't be afraid to experiment in the kitchen and try new recipes. With a little effort and planning, you can create delicious and nutritious meals that support your heart health and make you feel your best. And finally, tip number 5, regular checkups and monitoring. Regular checkups and monitoring are crucial for maintaining good heart health. During a checkup, your doctor will assess your overall health, including checking your blood pressure, measuring your waist circumference, and reviewing your family history. They'll also perform tests such as a lipid panel to check your cholesterol levels and an electrocardiogram to evaluate your heart's rhythm. Your doctor will use this information to develop a personalized plan to help you achieve your heart health goals. In addition to regular checkups, monitoring your health at home is also important. This includes keeping track of your blood pressure and cholesterol levels, as well as monitoring your weight and waist circumference. You can also monitor your diet and exercise habits to ensure you're maintaining a healthy lifestyle. There are various devices and apps available that can help you monitor your health, such as wearable fitness trackers, smartwatches, and mobile apps. By taking proactive steps to monitor your health and working closely with your doctor, you can play an active role in maintaining good heart health and reducing your risk of heart disease. We hope these tips have provided you with a better understanding of how to care for your heart and maintain good health. Remember, small changes can make a big difference. By implementing these tips into your daily routine, you can significantly improve your heart health and reduce your risk of heart disease. We would love to hear from you. Please share your thoughts, questions, or experiences related to heart health and nutrition. If you found this information helpful, please give us a thumbs up and share it with others who might benefit from it. Stay healthy and take care.